Hey guys, this is Andrew from Enjoynica.com taking a look at the Samsung Galaxy S3. Now, we've already done a hardware review, so if you haven't seen that, follow the link down below and you'll see that. But for right now, we're going to take a look at the software. And we'll start with the launcher, which I have to say is smoother than a baby's behind after fresh application of wet wipes. I've been pretty much going through this fairly easily, haven't had any issues. If you want to change the look, you press Apps. You go to menu. Right now I have it set to an alphabetical list, but if I press view type, I can switch to customizable grid and switch things around, or I can just make it a standard alphabetical grid. Very easy to do. Another nice feature, well, I wouldn't say it's a nice feature, but it's a feature, is the lock screen. It's pretty ugly. I hate the way these icons look. It's very touch-wizzy rather than ICS, but stock ICS doesn't have these built in unless you root your phone, so it's nice. You can easily switch on tasks like screen rotation or disable sync. If you have notifications that you want to dismiss, you just hold them, swipe them to the right, they're gone. If you have ongoing processes like Wi-Fi or Keys Air or Solid Explorer having an FTP connection, it'll be in the ongoing section. And then you have your standard notifications that you can clear all at once by pressing clear. Motion control is a big part of what you do in the Galaxy S3. For instance, normally when you want to move an icon around your home screen, you just hold down and you drag it, and you go pretty much through the loop. But there's an easier way to do it. You can also hold down and tilt so it quickly goes from one screen to the next. Go in the opposite direction, keep going back and forth. Very easy to do, very simple. Another cool little motion control feature. Let's say I'm in my contacts. I'm scrolling down and identifying the person I want. I want to go back to the top. All I have to do is tap twice on the top of the phone. It recognizes that and jumps back to the top of the screen. This works in places where you're browsing music. When you're browsing pretty much anywhere with a list on your Galaxy S3, you'll be able to just tap twice and go to the top. If you zoom in on an image and you want to explore more of it, instead of zooming out, just hold down and pan. Go up, go down, lean left, right, and it follows you along. The lock screen is interesting because it has 3 different ways that you can open it. You can naturally swipe across, you can jump directly to an app holding it and going up, or you can do it a couple other ways. If I need to go to the camera, aside from having that shortcut, I can press down, switch in a landscape, let go, and it knows automatically to go to the camera. So if you don't want to have the camera as part of your lock screen shortcuts, you can do it that way. Unlock this phone. Failed to recognize. Let's try that one more time. Unlock this phone. Boom. Okay, now that's very impractical as you saw because it does a terrible job of quickly recognizing the voice, and I wouldn't recommend using it, but it's there in case you want it. S-Voice is actually not just another lame Siri competitor. It actually lets you put voice commands in other aspects of the OS. So let's say you're playing music. Pause. Pause. Okay, as you can see, pause. Play. Play. Next. Next. Previous. Pause. Pause. As you can see, it's not foolproof. You might have to be loud. You might have to sometimes repeat your command, but it's something that's available to you. Voice command extends to other apps like the camera. For instance, I can focus in on this and say, shoot. Okay, when I tap here, what do you know? It took a picture of the little item. So this can come in handy if you're ever taking a self-portrait or a group photo with a rear-facing camera. I can say, shoot. Shoot. I had to be a little louder that time, but what do you know? It actually worked. There you go. You might want to keep your focus a little better than I did, though. We've talked about the good, let's talk about the bad and the ugly. And when I say ugly, I'm talking about TouchWiz UX. I grew to tolerate it and kind of like it on Gingerbread, but I don't like it on ICS because it feels like a complete step backwards. It feels stagnant. You've got the toggles right here. I don't like the look of them. I hate the way they've muckied up the notification screen. Rather than making it simple and easy to navigate, there are all these buttons and separations of ongoing and regular, and it just seems unnecessary. I also don't like the look of the way they've skinned Android 4.0. In the launcher, you don't really notice it. It's not really a problem. But when you go to things like the calendar app, it just looks so much cheap, and like it just seems like they changed the calendar just for the sake of changing it and making you more familiar with the TouchWiz UX, rather than taking a leap and making Android 4.0 look better than it does on stock. If you can't improve it, you shouldn't change it, and I don't think they realize that. When you look at the dialer, it's not that bad. It's not really an improvement, but as far as the contacts app, it's not as good as the People look for the People app from a visual standpoint. I like that you can just tap and scroll back to the top. You know, they've added some cool forms and functions, but they really messed up on the design part aspect of it. You can also see that at play when you go into the internet. The browser, it has some nice cool functions like the little pan to zoom and all of that, but the look of it is not that great. The way they changed it in terms of the visuals, it just seems like a step back. It's really frustrating when you've seen stock ICS. Even Sense, you know, even if you're not a fan of Sense, at least they're making some improvements. They're making some nice design tweaks. I don't get that sense from TouchWiz. I get the sense that they change things for the sake of changing them, and that's never a good thing in my opinion. Depending on what carrier you have, there will be some bloatware in there. I've got some from my AT&T that I've already disabled. But let's say there's something that's preloaded like the Chat On app, right? The great thing about ICS is that if you hold down on it, go down to App Info, it brings up the page where you can disable it. If I tap disable, it'll be removed from the launcher and it won't run in the background anymore, so I won't have to deal with it. So it is bloatware. It sucks to have to do it manually, but at least you can disable it and it's out of sight, out of mind. When it comes to Samsung Galaxy S3, there are a lot of things to love about this, especially the voice commands. It's not foolproof, but you know, it's better than nothing. And there are a lot of things to strongly dislike, like the way they've done stuff. I love the lock screen. I love the voice commands. S-Voice I'm not that big of a fan of, but overall the Galaxy S3 has some nice qualities that I think people will like as is. You don't even have to worry about rooting it. If you plan on rooting it and putting your own custom software on it like a lot of people do, that opens up a whole nother bag that I won't go into. But as is, when you walk out of the store and launch this phone, you will get a quality software experience. You know, I'd say it's like a B plus, B minus range. Depending on what you're looking for in a phone. But like I said, try it out. It's nice. It's not perfect, but it's nice. This is Andrew from Adronica.com doing a software review of the Samsung Galaxy S3. Feel free to watch the hardware review, and if you enjoyed this video, subscribe, check out the other videos that we have, and share with a friend. Until the next time I see you, this is Andrew from Adronica.com. Thanks for watching.